Hello there. Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. This is Teacher Jerry A. Jev again for another session for campus journalism or special program in journalism. This time, we shall be talking about column writing. COLUMN. Column writing. It's another opinion article. Okay. What is column writing? According to Sir Jeremy Clarkson, column writing is like gas. It fills the available space. Because actually, aside from the news has, of course, the necessary new information. But there are some items, there are some spaces which are to be filled, which are not really in depth, which are not deeply discussed in that article. Now the column just does just that, okay? And also aside from the editorial, column writing actually fills in the gaps. There are some things that an editorial writer or an opinion writer cannot express freely and really well in an editorial, in which the column writer can do that. It fills the available space from a news or from any article or from editorial for that matter. Column writing, it's been known that the heart of journalism may be news reporting or the news article, and the soul of journalism being the editorial page, but the personality, the character of journalism is the column. That's according to Sir Sam Riley, the editor of the American newspaper column, the American newspaper. He is a columnist, so he agrees here that column is actually it gives the personality of journalism. But what is column? Column, just the word column, it means it is a recurring feature by the same author in a newspaper, magazine, or website. Recurring meaning it's a regular feature, it's a regular article in that newspaper by the same author. It expresses the views of the columnist, the views or opinions, perspective of that writer or of that columnist or of that byliner. Column is characterized by voice, personality, and opinions of the writer. That's why I said earlier that it is the personality of the newspaper, of journalism, because column is very personalized, very individualized. Kwan, what is column writing? Columns in journalism are best known for the journalist, expert in the field like sports or politics, etc. Every newspaper must have a column, aside from the editorial. Column writing in journalism can be focused on any topic, from the politics to sports to religion to gardening to anything for that matter, to food to technology to science. You can write there's column in almost anything, because actually in every issue or in every concern, in every problem, everyone is entitled to his or her opinion. So when you have different opinions, you can have different columns in different fields. A column is not a news article. It is really, really different from a news, but it is news. Why? Because we begin our opinion or our column by giving the background, by providing the source of your issue or your concern, and that is and we can only get that from the news. It generally answers why and how, not so much of the what, when, where, and who, because that is to be provided by the news. Basically, it now answers the why. It goes deeper into the issue. It often is very personal. There's a personal attack to it, using the first and second person. First person being I, me, my, mine. Okay, in Filipino, in Tagalog, you can have the use of ako, akin, ko. Yan. You can use this, whereas in editorial writing, you are not allowed to do this. And you, second person, ikaw, ka, sayo, you can have that. A column often states an opinion. It states an opinion and it fights. It tries to convince people, to persuade people to believe your stand or your opinion. A column also has a standard head called a title and a byline, the name of the writer at the top. Okay? Now, this one is an example of a column. This I got this from a from Inquirer.net. The unbearable lockdown of Filipino children. That is a column. Here from Philippine Star, from Philstar, this is a column, an opinion. A long road to 20 peso rice. This is the title of the column written by Anna Marie Pamintuan. And her column, the title of her regular column on that page on that newspaper is sketches. So every day there's Miss Pamintuan is going to write anything, any title, can have any title about anything under her column sketches. This tells about the 20 peso rice challenge for the new president, BBM. Before this story goes the way of the 20 peso a kilo rice, authorities should stop trying to bring down the price of white refined sugar by press release. So that's the news, that's the source, and going down. We'll get to the format or the standard later. Here's another sketches article by Ms. Pamintuan, Masks Off. This is about uh, the EO number 5, I guess, of BBM, saying that it's now optional or voluntary to wear face mask. So she started her column with a question: will you take off your mask outdoors when it becomes optional? Then it goes down. In Filipino, this is by Corina Sanchez. Kay ka lang, lumalaganap na krimen. Yan, that's the column of Miss Corina Sanchez. Lumalaganap na krimen. Ang kaniyang, or I mean, her title of her regular column is Kay Kalang. Yan, by Sanchez. By this one, Sapul by Jairus Bundok. Racket sa grades 11 to 12. These are examples of columns in English and in Filipino. Now, how do you write a column? Paano ba sumulat ng column? First, you have to know your purpose. Bakit ka sumusulat? Why are you writing? It's more on the why. Why will you write? Will you write to inform? Are you writing to inform the public, the community about an event? Does the paper's editor, the community, or co-workers want it? Do other people want it, or do you want it? Are you entertaining, informing, or educating? You have to know your purpose. Because from there, if you know your purpose, you would know your style, your attack. Do you seek an identity or exposure? There. Now, should also know your audience. Like in any writing event, you should have your audience at the back of your mind. Whom are you trying to reach? Sinong target audience mo? Who are you reaching? Are you reaching the students, the teachers, the parents, the government, the politicians? Who are you reaching? How many? Write in their language. If you now know your audience, you are going to write in their language, the language that they know, makamasa, layman's term, not your language. You have to go down. Do not use a jargon. At their level, at their level. So if you know that you are writing for the mga super, mga driver, so you go down to their level about things that the audience needs to know or wants to know. Otherwise, if you talk or if you write on your level, then they cannot understand you. No matter how much they read, they cannot relate to you. Relatability po. Now you should know your content. What? It's now your matter. This is your material, your content. What will your column discuss? Ano pong ibabahagi mo? Anong i-discuss mo? What will you discuss? This is now your topic. How will you discuss it? How are you going to go around it? You have to answer now the why and how to determine the what. What is your content? That is now. For columns, it should be based on facts, information, data, and should be accurate. You should be correct. You must never go wrong. There's no room to be wrong. Names are very crucial or critical or essential, important or vital in a personal column. So you have to really drop names, and if you really have to be correct with the names. Personal columns may be informal, they can go informal, yet they have to be accurate. Yet accuracy and sourcing material counts. You have to back up your opinion, because we know that columns are really loaded with opinion, but but these opinions have to be backed up by information or by data, by sources. Now, your structure. What's your format? How are you going to do that? What should you do right first, next, then last? How? This is now the how. How will your message get to your audience? You have to have your question and answer. You should have your new ideas, how to do it pieces or your calendars. These are your strategy. These are your styles. You can have quick Q&A style. You can have like new ideas or how to do it, or a calendar form like what happened this day to next. It's in chronological order. For personal columns, they often have departments like part, or these are coming events. These are coming for events in the future. Applications, notes, or other categories. Department by department, I mean categories. Okay? You have to decide on your purpose, content, audience, and structure. Now, here are some tips or suggestions for in writing columns. This is by Deborah Jefferson. Here are the do's. What to do in writing a column. 1. Give the reader timely, helpful information. It should be timely. Why it should be timely? Because you are talking about an issue or concern that is based from a news, that is based on what happens very recently. So that should be timely. You do not go talk about parts of the history, okay? That's already done like months, years, ages ago. Talk about now. Now, develop a structure and keep it. You should have your own structure, style, and stick to it. Write on a regular schedule. Regular schedule, okay? Write simple and short sentences and paragraphs. Like any fields of writing, KISS, keep it short and simple. Simple and short sentences. That's all. That's also one way of going down to the level of your target audience. In personal columns, use local names and places because that's very personal so that people will be able to relate. So use local names and local places. Use quotes and references. You can use quotes that you got from interview when you ask somebody, so direct quotations, and then use, of course, references. Then learn the difference between a column and a news story. A news, your news peg can become your source, but you should have what's the difference between a column and a news? A column is loaded with opinion but still based on news, okay? Whereas a news, you cannot you cannot insert your own opinion in a news story. Here are more suggestions. Here are the things that you should not do in writing a column. Avoid this. Do not use technical or complex words. Do not use jargons or technical or very complicated words. Stick to simple words, okay? That a layman's term that these people can understand, your audience can understand. Do not talk in jargon or unfamiliar words or terms. That's what I said. Jargon, these are the field specific, discipline specific terms like doctors, like when you have very specific medical terms which ordinary people cannot understand. Like, do not, when you are talking about scientific names, ordinary people cannot understand that. Like also me, we teachers, we have our own jargons, and the ordinary, let's just say the parents and pupils cannot understand. Okay? Do not talk about one topic constantly. Yes. Do not talk about one topic. It is very important that there is one topic and you are going to stick to only one topic. But this has to do with your regular columns. So example is when you are talking about education, in your regular columns, you should have to be talking about different things in your page, in your newspaper. Let's just say for now you are talking about this issue, and next time you will be talking about another issue and another concern, another problem. Because as we see, as I have said earlier, that opinions or columns are based from news, are from the really are very recent or new happenings, events in the country or in the locality. So talk about different things. But when you write your column for that title, for that topic, just talk about that. Do not get out of the topic. That's what it means here. Do not include too much detail or material. Okay. Do not include too much detail. Do not go so much into the specifics of the material. Okay, you can just pick up one, two, three, but don't go too very exact, very specific. Stimulate interest, not exhaust a subject. You have to pick up their interest of the reader. Stimulate interest. Do not exhaust a subject. Refer to yourself as a third person. This author, your reporter, or quote yourself. Jimmy Jones said, instead use mine. So do not refer to yourself even as a third person, because as we said, as I mentioned earlier, columns, that's it has a personal touch. So you can use uh, first person. So first person I, you can use I, me, my, mine. You are allowed. So use mine. Do not say because I am Jerry Java and I'm the one writing. So Jerry Java says, Jerry Java firmly believes that. No, that's a no-no. So I'd rather say I believe that. Okay, that one. Here are more column suggestions. One, be specific, but do not go too much into detail. Okay, be specific. If this is the problem, dig on that, but do not be very specific. But of course, do not be very vague or general. Two, use active voice. Example, the owl hooted is stronger than an owl's hoot was heard. This is between active versus passive voice. Once again, we I suggest that we should always use active voice. We should prefer using active voice than the passive voice, because we are able to use shorter words than when we use passive voice. Active voice is someone does something, 3 words, whereas when we use passive voice, that something is done by someone, that's 5 words. So we can have the active voice. We must use active voice. 3, use quotes. You have these quotes, direct and indirect quotes. We get this, okay, from our interview. Writing event, person, idea, refer to an authority. When we write about events, persons, or ideas, we have to refer to an authority, because this shall also be our this will make our writing, our column, credible, reliable. 4, use characterization. Example, Faraz is a short, rumpled little man who wears a blue beret and his collar turned up. He has a fat nose and big ears. So that's characterization. If there's a person, if there's one example, you are describing a person or something or a place, it has to be characterized. You have to give it his or her profile. Okay, describe. 5. Use carry over transitional devices. Like in any writing, you have to have provide transitions. You make use of transitional devices because these transitional devices will thread, will sew, will connect your paragraph to another, to the next paragraph. Okay, like furthermore, moreover, uh, on the other hand. Okay, use those transitional devices. 6. Show, don't tell. Okay, do not just tell, do not just say, you have to show it. How do you show it? You have to describe. The professor acted strange. The professor drooled on his tie, staggered against the blackboard, and slid to the floor, moaning. So instead of just saying the professor acted strange, you have to describe, you have to show how strange did the professor act. So you can say the professor drooled in his tie. That's one thing very strange for a professor to do. Staggered against the blackboard and slid to the floor and moaned. So these are very specific uh, thing to describe how strange the professor acted. Also, like when you describe a beggar, do not just say that the beggar is on the side street. So you'd rather say you go describe how the beggar looks, like from his or her color, his or her dress, uh, from head to toe. Okay, show, don't tell, because you will give imagine, you will let the readers imagine. Okay. 7. Describe scenes. This is what I said. You have to describe the scenes because in column, aside from telling opinion, you are actually telling a story. 8. Use a vivid figures of speech. In column writing, you can use your figures of speech, your metaphor, your simile, and all the others, your personification. Yeah. 9. Use analogies. Analogies are very important, are very good styles or strategies or techniques to be used in writing a column. Analogies, it's when you compare this thing, your topic or your the issue, to another ordinary things that our ordinary people are actually doing every day. Then that's an effective analogy in which they can relate to that. Simplified, okay, simple everyday things that they can relate to. Tips from Billy Book's House of Writing Tips. So this is another tips from another author. Write with power and conviction. Because column is an opinion, you're actually trying to convince people. They are trying to persuade people to believe your stand. So you have to write power. You can only do that. You can only convince people when you have power, when you believe what you write. Okay, when you write with conviction, believe in your opinion. If you say so, you have to believe that. Write about it. Strength of your conviction should be apparent, very obvious. You have to sell your viewpoints with with strong statements. Okay, you have to, though you have to let people decide, but you have to be very brave. That's what I said, with power and conviction, and be brave with your opinion. Keep your focus. FOCUS. Keep your focus. If you are writing on one article in this one topic or one issue, do not get out of the topic. Okay, keep your stick to your topic. Make your article about one thing only, for that article only. Okay, so when you talk about a fish, do not talk about a dog. Okay, do not stray, do not go away from your message. Stick to your topic, stick to your message. Stay focused. Focus on your title, because the title, that's where you have your topic. Make a strong impression. Impress the readers. Be aware of opposite viewpoints. Now, this time, because we said that it's loaded with opinion, of your opinion, do not also forget to include the opposite viewpoints, the contradicting viewpoints or opinion. If you say yes to this issue, you have to include also, you have to consider uh, including the other viewpoints, the no's. So what did those who disagree say? For that, you can have that for, this is also plus points for you in your credibility. This will add to your credibility. Anticipate or look forward to what will be said against you, so that you have arguments ready to combat, to rebut the negative comments. So you also have to have at the back of your mind, you should have your own devil's advocate. Okay? Respond to objections before they are made. Be proactive and convincing rather than reactive and wishy-washy. Okay? Use simple analogies. This is what I said earlier. I said about analogies, and that these analogies rather should be simple and relatable. Readers associate or connect better with an example from real life. This is what I said. Real life, a relatable, everyday lives that they get to experience this. So complicated or technical subject, use a simple analogy. Do not use complicated or technical examples. Use a simple analogy to drive your point home. Your readers will appreciate it and be much more willing to sign in to your point of view, to agree with you if they can relate to you, using because you use analogy that they were able to relate or to connect to. Use facts. I said uh, columns or opinions or even editorial are loaded with opinion, but these should be backed up by facts, surveys, statistics, data, information, interviews, sources, numbers. Yeah, use facts and statistics, but do not also, because I said facts, do not also give a lot of facts and statistics without having your opinion. So that should be, column should be 75% opinion and 25% facts. Okay? Back your opinion up with some facts. Okay? Don't be a loudmouth and speak nonsense. Okay? You can have a column, you can have your opinion, you can have a sense when you have your opinion, and you have to back up with facts. Okay, that makes you with sense. Use facts in your article so your argument carries weight with the reader. So that your opinion will be heavy, with be so that your readers will say, I believe him because he or she has records, has facts to support his or her arguments. You have to name real people as examples. Do This is opinion. It has to be with some facts. So you have to be naming people. Okay, you have to give examples, not fiction. Okay, this is not fiction, this is facts. Nameless concepts and policies mean very little to the average reader, so you have to name things. Naming a celebrity who they recognize carries much more weight. Okay, you have to name a celebrity, a popular person or famous person, if he or she is your topic. If you are doing a controversial piece, don't be afraid to name real people and criticize them. Like I said, you have to be very brave because this is opinion, but you won't be. But make sure that that's not really libelous. Okay, how do you do away with libelous statements? You have to have your opinion, and that's why you have to back it up with facts. Just don't be too critical, or you run the risk of sounding a bit deranged and obsessive and out of this world. Okay? Now let's talk about the structure or the format. Here's the column format. The same thing with the same format with editorial. You have to have your lead or your first paragraph, your nut graph, your body, and your conclusion or your end. In the lead, you have to provide background. In the background, that's where you put your news peg. Okay, then the nut graph or the nut, you have to state your opinion, your reaction to that news or to that issue. What is your idea? What is your opinion? What's your stand? And then in the body, you provide arguments and evidences. You provide your opinion, and of course, like I said, back it up with, support it with evidences. And the conclusion or end, you have to restate your opinion for emphasis. You have to say again your opinion, restate your stand or your opinion, but in another very impactful, powerful statement. Leave with a bang. Because this is your last chance for you to convince people to believe you. Here's the voice. This is an example. Uh, in the lead, provide background here. Let me paint the picture for you. One day, a 39-year-old registered sex offender on parole for two separate cases of gross sexual imposition with both victims being under the age of 13, happily and without restriction, enrolled at Cuyahoga Community College. A stipulation of his parole states that he is prohibited from unsupervised contact with minors under the age of 18. Here, you are providing the background, the news, the source, the story, the problem, the issue. On that same day, a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed teenage girl in her early years of high school took advantage of an opportunity that she heard about in her class that allowed her to have a step up by taking courses at a local college. The program is designed to give her a competitive edge among her peers. Wanting to excel beyond the current status quo, she also enrolled at Tri-C. Now, you just gave the audience the background, the story, the problem. Now, your next part is the nut. This is where you're going to state your opinion, your reaction, your stand. Are you for or against? Do you say yes or no? Do you agree or disagree? Currently, there is no policy in place that addresses sex offenders. TRIC never inquires about their status or stipulations. The kids, their parents or guardians, and any other watchful eye who could intervene are not made aware that such danger lurks nearby. This laissez-faire attitude of Tracy fosters an unsafe environment that has resulted in predatory behavior on occasions, with documented cases of sex offenders violating their parole, unwarranted sexual advances, and most terrifying of all, reported cases of alleged kidnapping and rape on campus of minors, begs the question: if TRIC has a power of autonomy to implement a policy to protect these children, why haven't they? No, you are starting to really be brave. Now, in your body, this is now you are going to provide arguments and evidence to support your stand or your opinion, your position. Renee Richard, TRIC's Vice President of Legal Services, stated, "The decision was made in 2012 that we will not require self-reporting in an effort to promote the college's position as a college of op open institution in second chances." Now, this is what I said, that you have to have interviews, give names, drop some names, and what did they say? That's your authority. These are your sources. People on the front line feel that more could be done. It would be a great help to administrators and a relief to the parents who have a photo identification of all registered sex offenders on campus, said Stacy Hutchinson, principal of the High Tech Academy. Tri-C could follow the footsteps of Lake Michigan Community College, which bans sex offenders with child victims from taking courses on the campus. Alternatively, they fittingly offer them online classes. That's the example. That's your body. Now, the conclusion. You have to restate your opinion for emphasis. Okay? Engineering student Brian Gray said, I don't support the opportunity of the open access policy to sex offenders. It's okay to have standards. So, for all the great opportunities that Tri-C has to offer high school students who wish to get a head start in life, it would be a shame to lose the programs due to this liability. While Tri-C Metro Police Lieutenant Ronald Wine suggested students follow the motto, if you see something, say something. I suggest the administration come to understand that prevention is key and start giving this topic the proper attention it deserves. Until then, fellow students must keep an attentive eye and band together to protect one another. Now, in your ending, in your aside from restating your opinion, do not forget that in opinions like editorial and this one column, you have to provide solutions, answers, suggestions, call to actions. Okay, when you see something, when you talk about something, uh, do not just talk about it. You have to provide solutions, as many answers as possible before you end. Okay, you have to provide solutions. Now that's it about column writing. I hope you are all ready to write your columns. Again, be brave. Yeah, be brave, write with conviction, load it up with opinions, but do not forget to back it up with facts. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye, bye, bye.